Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Former President Rodrigo Duterte is now under the custody of the PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group following the arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court, or ICC. Duterte's camp is questioning the legality of his arrest, despite the assertion of authorities that due process was observed. The former president, together with his former chief PNP, Senator Bato Dela Rosa, are now seeking the Supreme Court's intervention to prevent the enforcement of ICC's order. Let's get on point with former Senator Leila de Lima. Senator Leila, good to see you again. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Pinky. Good evening to the viewers.
It's good that you're around. I mean, I can imagine you campaigning.
Oh, yes, it so happened that today is I'm off, or I'm free from any campaign sortie. It has been successive campaigning the last 2 weeks, and today is supposed to be a rest day for me up to tomorrow. No, tomorrow I have again schedules. But today, at nangyari, this thing happened.
What do you call it? I mean, if you have been campaigning and then today was your rest day and this happened, the arrest of the former president, how would you describe that?
I really cannot. I don't know. I mean, what happenstance, and then it's all coming into place, I think. And I've been expecting this, just like many of us, I think, that we've been expecting this, especially the victims of the EJKs under the war on drugs. So actually, I'm not surprised anymore, although I'm more of relieved, really. I'm relieved that it's now, it has, the burden of waiting for justice to move, the wheels of justice to move has been taken out from my shoulder.
Did you really imagine this day would come?
I did not doubt. I have not doubted that this day will come. Now, that because I've been monitoring the ICC investigation, and that I know for a fact that they were really serious in conducting the investigation. I also know that they were really at the last stage or advanced stage of their investigation. And I received an information last week that indeed warrant of arrest would be issued very soon. It says within 2 weeks. But, at first I could not also believe it because it has been, we've been expecting this since last year, July, and then it was, tapos sinabi, October daw, the talks, and then
January.
The end of the year,
yeah.
Before the end of 2024, and then February. But last week, it would seem that parang for real na talaga. So I believed it. I really believed it, that it's going to happen. So it did happen. The warrant of arrest was dated March 7. So that was Friday. And then I suppose within today, it was referred to the ICC. I'm sorry, to the Interpol. Mm-hmm. And Interpol immediately requested for the assistance of Philippine authorities. And they do have representatives here. There's a particular office which is an adjunct of the Interpol.
Yeah, which is the PNP, a part of the PNP.
A part of the PNP,
yeah.
yes.
So I just want to go back to, the woman who fought against the war on drugs, who talked about EJKs, who talked about the Davao Death Squad, was jailed for 6 years and acquitted pretty much on the 7th.
Almost 7 years.
Yeah. Could this be personal for you, one way or another? You were the one who was jailed on what you were saying were false, were lies, which the Supreme Court, of course, acquitted you for. And then, yung pong kinalaban yung tao, ngayon naman po ang makukulong. Can it even be personal for you?
Deeply personal for me. That is what I stated in the statement I issued earlier. This matter is deeply personal to me. I suffered for almost 7 years. And what was my crime? I fought for justice. I fought for the victims of the EJKs under Mr. Duterte's bloody, murderous, and I should say also bogus war on drugs, victimizing mostly poor drug suspects without going through any due process. So I fought for that. And then they persecuted me. They subjected me to vicious attacks, character assassination, including misogyny and sexism, slut shaming. So I suffered. And then they filed cases, fabricated cases, and jailed me. I'm innocent. So they did that to me. For almost 7 years, I was locked up in detention. That was my crime, fighting for justice. No, so this thing happened. So this is truly deeply personal to me. But more than myself, I think about the victims, the EJK families. And it, you know, the justice being handed down to them preliminarily now by the ICC through the issuance of the warrant of arrest is for the victims of the war on drugs, not for me.
It's not for you.
Not for me. I have a different case, and I was absolved already. Those cases were dismissed already, although I'm seeking also for justice. And they have to also pay for what was done to me, and that is being prepared now by my lawyers. But this one is about justice for the victims, the thousands killed.
The former president, from what we know right now, ma'am, is still in Villamor Airbase. He was taken there from the NAIA very early this morning. He arrived at about 9:20 and then eventually, again, brought to Villamor. And that's what we still know as of now. Let's first check the situation there at Villamor Airbase. Our Joash Malimban is there right now. Joash, any movement? What is the update?
Pinky, latest updates lang naman dito. Nagpahayag na ng kanyang statement si VP Sara Duterte at sinabing pagtatraidor daw ang ginawang pag-aresto sa kanyang ama na si former President Rodrigo Duterte. Ayon pa sa kanya, hanggang ngayon wala pa rin daw legal counsel na pinapayagang pumasok doon sa loob ng Villamor Airbase. Samantala, patuloy pa rin yung protesta ng mga Duterte supporters dito sa labas ng Villamor. Kung maririnig nyo dito sa aking likuran, na marami pa rin yung talagang nagcha-chant, tuloy-tuloy sila sa pagsabi ng Duterte at palabasin na raw ang kanilang Tatay Digong. Marami sa kanila yung nagpapahayag ng galit at frustration sa pamahalaan at halos walang tigil sila sa pagsigaw ng Duterte dito sa may Gate 1 at Gate 5 ng Villamor Airbase. Sa katunayan, meron pang tumayo dito kanina na habang umiiyak, meron siyang hawak na isang kartolina at nagsasabi na mahal niya si Duterte. Anila 8 years old na raw ang dating Pangulo at hindi na raw nararapat humarap sa ganitong mga trial. Sa isang Instagram story naman ni Kitty Duterte, sinabi ng dating Pangulo na confident siyang ire-rebuke ng Supreme Court yung ginawang pag-aresto sa kanya. Nagain kasi ng petisyon si Senator Ronald Bato Dela Rosa sa Supreme Court na humihingi ng isang preliminary injunction at temporary restraining order para pansamantalang mahinto yung effect nitong ICC warrant arrest. Samantala, kinumpirma naman ng isang reliable source sa Billionaire News Channel na lilipad na ngayong gabi si former President Duterte patungong Dubai, kung saan sasakay siya sa eroplano na patungo naman sa Netherlands. Sa kabila niyan, hinikayat naman ng ilang mga kaalyado ni dating Pangulong Duterte na pumunta pa rin dito sa tapat ng Villamor Airbase para ipakita ang kanilang solidarity sa dating Pangulo. Haharap si dating Pangulong Duterte sa crimes against humanity dahil sa mga malawakang extrajudicial killings at human rights abuses na naganap noong panahon ng kanyang pagiging mayor sa Davao City at kanyang pagiging presidente mula 2016 hanggang 2019 bago pumalas ang Pilipinas sa ICC. Yan muna latest updates dito, Pinky.
Maraming salamat sa report, Joash Malimban. He's been following this story since this morning from the NAIA Terminal 3 when the President arrived hanggang lumipat na po siya dyan sa Villamor Airbase to get more updates and details from us and also to find more, get more information on any movement there because authorities again have been very tight-lipped about this. Kitty Duterte went live on Instagram earlier showing her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, arguing with authorities on his possible travel to The Hague tonight. Let's watch this.
Bakit mo ako dadalhin doon sa international body na hindi na tayo bibro? That's a big question. Kaya nga, ito sila sa Supreme Court, tignan mo. Whether rightly or wrongly ang decision na mag-withdraw tayo sa ICC, the fact that we are already not a member. So, dapat intindihin ng mga abogado yan, pati sila, they should, ay ko naman, Duarte, ask them seriously again. Kasi, malapit ka na mag-retire. So, just ask them, sigurado ba kayo dito? Kasi hindi na tayo membro ng ICC. Medisina ko rin. Kaya sabihin lang ng drama, sabihin mo totoo, hindi alam nila yan, matanda ka na, kailangan mong bisina. Sabihin mo sa inyo, nagdadala ng kaso dito. Sir, huwagan mo sila, sabihin mo. Ano ba to? May variance kasi. Pero kung sasama ako sa iyo, huwag kang magtingin dyan, sasama ako sa iyo.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Total, nandito naman tayo sa government facility.
Yes.
So, escape is not a problem. Impossible dream.
Thank you, sir.
Okay lang mga parado. Ang akin lang, I might not have the chance anymore to lecture on you na the serious implications nito.
Yes, sir.
We have withdrawn and then you would allow me to be brought to a body of which we are no longer a member. Isa yan. Kaya sabihin mo din sa prosecutor, sabi ni Mayor, kindly ponder on this seriously.
Sir.
Alam mo man, nabasa mo man siguro, nag-withdraw na tayo. So, bakit mo ako dalhin doon sa international body na hindi tayo membro? Kung balang araw, per chance, kung isa sa inyo magkakaroon ng kaso, at joking ko yung mga politika to, alam mo naman politika ito. May ko siguro, doon hatakin mo yan doon sa maligayahan kayo niyan. I'm reminding you, not because I want to, I'm not berating you actually. I'm giving you a lecture na ponder on it seriously because magkakaroon ito ng implication. Una-una, I don't know about, but my family, lalo na si Vice President, ikaw bukas mag-presidente yan. Was-was tayong lahat dito. Or on a longer term, kung tatakbo yan, mananalo yan. Dahil nga sa ginawa ninyo tuloy, ano.
All right, first I want to get a reaction from Senator Leila, just seeing the former president that way. I mean, I can imagine He came from Hong Kong, of course. Dumating po siya 9:20, must have left Hong Kong. I'd say 7:30, must have been in the airport at 5:30. Siguro wala pong tulog, dire-diretso yan. And 7:47 now. Meron ho ba kayong awa na nararamdaman sa kanya?
Bakit po tayo maawa sa kanya? Naawa ba siya dun sa mga pinagpapatay nila? And then he's been, anong nangyari dun sa mga earlier pronouncement niya nung nasa Quadcom siya? Sinasabi niya na, inaano pa nga niya, he was still daring ICC. Bakit ang tagal-tagal niyo? Gusto ko bukas nandito na kayo. At ano naman ako sa inyo, susunod naman ako sa inyo. And even there, in his speech dun sa Hong Kong, dun sa mga OFWs, he did say something like, wala akong magagawa. Susunod ako pag inaresto ako. And then, although he was still justifying why he did that. I mean, he was saying, okay, why did I do that? I did it for the Filipino people. As if those he killed are not Filipino people. Right? So, bakit naman po ako may magkakaroon ng awa sa kanya? Kung meron man na po akong awa sa kanya, is that nakikita ko nga siya na, well, kailangan harapin niya talaga yan Harapin na niya yan. Accountability. This is really the time for reckoning. This is a time for accountability. Now, doon siya magpaliwanag sa ICC kung ano yung mga defenses niya. Ang alam natin, dumaan sa tamang proseso kasi nag-imbestiga nga, few years from 2018, 2022, and then ngayon, so how many years? So nag-imbestiga, naging maingat yung investigative team or the ICC prosecutor's office, the prosecutor's team in investigating. There were lots of information being submitted to them, mga communications being submitted to them, but inano nila yan, they had to vet those information, they have to be doubly sure about the veracity of those information before they applied for a warrant of arrest sa pre-trial chamber. And then the pre-trial chamber, of course, reviewed the submissions of the prosecutor, of the ICC prosecutor. At yung conclusion nila, that there is reasonable basis to now issue warrant of arrest.
So very clearly, nasa pre-trial chamber pa rin po yung
Yes,
yung
sa pre-trial chamber.
statusan
Wala
po.
pa to sa trial.
Okay. But ma'am, I'm gonna ask you again, because it's often being said, bakit siya kailangan isurrender sa isang body na hindi na po tayo member? Yun po ang argumento ni even Attorney Sal, yung pong nasa camp ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, hindi na tayo kasala ng ICC. Bakit yung pinipilit na meron silang jurisdiction sa akin? Wala na. Please explain that.
Malinaw nakasabi sa Rome Statute. Malinaw din na nakasabi doon sa decision ng Supreme Court. The Pangilinan et al. Versus Cayetano et al. Case in 2021 that was promulgated in 2021. Malinaw sinasabi doon na kahit nag-withdraw na tayo, may jurisdiction pa rin ang ICC. The ICC retains jurisdiction over the alleged crimes against humanity that happened or that were committed during the time that we were still a member. And that means from 2011 to 2019. So the fact of withdrawal did not divest the ICC of its jurisdiction. The fact of withdrawal did not absolve the state, our country, our government.
Or the alleged crimes.
Did not absolve from its obligation to cooperate. So meron pa nga dapat, obligation to cooperate. The Marcos administration nung una, sinabi din na hindi sila makikipag-cooperate. But I think they realized later na hindi tama yung kanilang posisyon.
Although they did say the Interpol. If the Interpol comes in and issues...
Ang sinabi nila, pag nandyan sa Interpol, wala rin silang choice.
Wala nang choice, but
kasi
to
member
respect
din
it.
tayo ng Interpol.
That's right.
So two levels of arguments yan. Pinky, no? Okay, ang argument ko, kahit hindi na tayo member, may obligation pa rin natin yan na mag-cooperate, including yung sa pag-enforce ng warrant of arrest. And then assuming na hindi na wala na tayong ganyang obligasyon, hindi pwedeng sabihin yan because it's also clear na pag member state, mandatory yung pag-cooperate in the enforcement of the warrant of arrest. If you're no longer a member state, you still have the discretion, you have the option to cooperate in the enforcement. Parang ang ano dyan is ICC parang requests non-member states to cooperate or to assist in the enforcement of the warrant of arrest. Lalo nang kinurse through nila sa Interpol. So wala po akong nakikitang hindi nasunod.
At siguro importante, Senator, balikan yung nangyari nito dahil it was in February, please correct me if I'm wrong, in 2018, that the President, former President Rodrigo Duterte, withdrew.
March.
Was it March?
It was
Of
March.
March of 2018
Yes.
from the Rome Statute, ano po?
Yes.
Para po tayo ay umexit sa ICC. But meron po yan kasi sa pagkaintindi ko, 1 taon na leeway, kumbaga, bago ka formally
Yes,
na
2019.
matatanggal, which is March 2019.
Yes.
Hence, your premise na obligado tayo, mula nung tayo'y miyembro, hanggang nung taon ng March 2019.
Yes.
Basically, that's it.
Yes.
All right. So, when they keep saying that hindi na tayo miyembro, could there be any other argument that they are raising that you might have missed in this Rome Statute or sa ICC? Kasi po paulit-ulit po yung ganong argumento. In fact, I think, I don't remember who it is, pero since we exited, when tayo nag-advise na alis na po tayo in March 2018, dapat daw meron parang 1 taon na inuumpisahan na ang examination or investigation. Meron din po kasing ganong argument. Can you help us understand that?
Okay, unang-una, malinaw nga po yan na the ICC retains jurisdiction over the crimes that committed within that period that member pa tayo. And then that issue was already raised by the Philippine government sa pre-trial chamber, sa appeals chamber, the pre-trial chamber. Rinaise na nila yan. Kasi di ba, nagkaroon ng examination and then the ICC prosecutor asked for authorization to start investigation pero nag-request muna ng deferral yung Philippine government. Pinagbigyan naman, so na-defer. And then later, the ICC prosecutor asked for authority to resume investigation. The pre-trial chamber granted it. And then, rinaise nila yung lack of jurisdiction. Pero the pre-trial chamber nanindigan na i-continue pa rin yung investigation even if nag-withdraw na. So that issue was raised already before the pre-trial chamber.
And it was raised during the Duterte administration. And I believe the DOJ secretary at that time must have been Secretary Guevara?
Yes, I think so.
Who is the
Solicitor
General now, which I wanted to ask you. In a situation like this, he was the DOJ Secretary. Balikan po natin yung panahon na yon na sinabi po ng gobyerno sa pre-trial chamber, nag-appeal po. Basically, what I remember is that titingnan po ulit namin yung mga kaso, we will study the cases again. Hindi ho ba ganun ang naging argumento. And then, right now, ito pong si dating Secretary Menardo Guevara, who was a DOJ Secretary, you're once that as well, is now the Solgen. Hindi ho ba yung Solgen ngayon ang tatayo naman na to protect
the government, the position
government?
of the to argue for the government, to justify, to present arguments in favor of the government. So, I'm not sure. So, nalalagay sa alanganin ngayon si Solicitor General. And that's precisely what I was questioning also. Yung ini-insist niya noon na hindi na daw tayo pwede mag-cooperate because hindi na tayo member.
Yeah.
He knows na hindi yun ang tama na interpretation of what is in the Rome Statute.
Senator, I hope you don't mind, no? We just need to bring this in. I'm sorry, I just saw this. On the phone is Attorney Israelito Torion, the legal counsel of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Attorney, magandang gabi po sa inyo.
Yes.
Pasensya na po
good
sa
evening,
hintay.
good
This
evening.
is Pinky Webb, sir. Sir, kayo ho ba ay
ma'am.
tumatayo ding abogado ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte?
Yes, in this case.
Opo, and you filed a petition before the Supreme Court.
Yes, indeed.
Please
Yes,
explain,
indeed. Yes,
sir.
a while
Tell us
ago.
more about it.
Well, we filed it a while ago because we feel that there is no more need on the part of the Republic of the Philippines to cooperate with the International Criminal Court, knowing that we already withdrew last March 17 of 2018. And 1 year after that, that is the effectivity, last March 17 of 2019. And I think we know that under Article 127, Paragraph 2, the only exception by which ICC can exercise jurisdiction is if a matter is under consideration by the ICC. From my own humble understanding and based on decided cases on the matter, that matter under consideration should be one which is under judicial consideration. And as of March 17 of 2019, what was under consideration was merely a preliminary examination ordered by the Office of the Prosecutor, which cannot be considered as judicial because it was unilateral and under the discretion only by the Office of the Prosecutor. That's my humble opinion on the matter, and we advanced that to the Supreme Court. It's up to the Supreme Court to act on our petition. We are praying, however, that a TRO shall be issued so that the Philippine authorities shall no longer cooperate if there is indeed a warrant of arrest as against PRRD.
Attorney,
That, in essence, is our contention, ma'am.
Apo, Attorney, maraming salamat po, no? Pero it's a little technical for me and maybe to
Yes.
some of the people watching. In basic layman's term, ano po ang
Yeah, in
argumento?
basic layman's term,
Apo.
ang argumento kasi natin, hindi na po tayo miyembro. Umalis na tayo noong March 17 of 2018. So kung hindi umalis na tayo, may 1-year window period yan na kung meron mang investigation na gagawin, dapat ginawa na, dumulog na doon sa pre-trial chamber para magpa-issue ng warrant of arrest or ipa-investigate pa formally, no? Ang nangyari kasi, preliminary examination lang ang nagawa by 2018 up to 2019. So paglampas doon, kung wala pang judicial consideration, kung hindi pa umabot doon sa pre-trial chamber, so sa tingin ko po ay hindi na yon mahulog under Article 127 Paragraph 2. So yun po ang nasa tingin ko po. Of course, may mga matatalino naman na mga lawyers who would be opposing me. I do hope and pray na doon na lang tayo sa Supreme Court mag-argue kasi ang amin namang ngayon ay dapat irespeto din yung karapatang pantao ni Presidente Rodrigo
Attorney,
Duterte.
are you
Yun na po.
saying that doon po sa isang taon na window na yon mula nang humiling tayo, nagsabi tayo rather na exit tayo to the time na effective po yung ating exit, March 18 to March 2019, ang sinasabi niyo
Yes.
ba dapat yung panahon na yon ay nagkaroon na rin ng arrest
Or even
warrant,
before
tama
that.
ho ba?
No.
Hindi, okay.
Yung pre-trial chamber, nag-apply na sila ng order ng for formal investigation. At saka may order na dapat ng formal investigation
Okay,
yung
yun po.
pre-trial chamber. Hindi ginawa tinulugan. Ang tagal-tagal naman nating naging miyembro ng ICC. At saka yung yung period of alleged violation, medyo matagal naman. So, yun ang ating, kung meron silang reklamo, pwede naman dito sa korte. Our courts are working and our local justice system is well and alive. Then we have remedies here in the Philippines, but not in the ICC.
Attorney, just a quick question on that. Basically, you're saying dapat dun sa isang taon na yon, dapat nagkaroon na ng formal investigation. Tama po? Okay. Oo. Pero bakit po yung nangyari doon sa isang taon na yon ay hiniling din ng gobyerno under the president, the former president, yun din po kasi yung panahon na umapila sila doon sa pre-trial chamber, hindi ho ba?
No, there may be, I don't know what is your timeline, but that happened after 2019 already when when the jurisdiction of ICC would have already been lost. No?
You're saying lapse.
So, yun, So,
Okay.
ang ano lang kasi noon, itong argument na lang kasi na itong ginagawa kong argument ngayon, admittedly, hindi ito na-raise ng mga
I see.
abogado natin noon. Oo.
Attorney,
So,
sandali lang po,
ito
very
na-raise
quickly,
noon.
para
Yes
lang
po, yes po.
we're factual here. Was it
Yes,
time,
sir.
yun pong
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yung pagsabi ng gobyerno that time that let's look into, nag-appeal po sila. I'm just talking to Senator
They
Leila
raised
here.
that issue
Was it
already before the
2019?
pre-trial chamber. Yes, I think so. 19. I'm not very sure.
Ah, okay.
But that was raised already.
Okay.
Before the ICC and the pretrial chamber, nag-rule na. Tsaka yung sinasabing, ang nakalagay yung, at na-quote din niya ni Attorney Torion, matter under consideration. Hindi judicial what? Judicial proceedings or what? Matter under consideration. It's general enough to really include yung the early stages of the preliminary examination and the formal investigation. And again, that was raised already
It was
before
raised.
the pretrial
All right.
chamber.
Balikan ko lang si Attorney Torion. Attorney, what happens right now? Kasi ang hinihingi, hindi ba basically TRO, sinasabi po ninyo
Yes,
dito sa
TRO.
inyong petisyon sa Supreme Court na dapat hindi mag-cooperate ang authorities such as the DOJ Secretary, the DILG Secretary, the PNP, not to cooperate with the Interpol. Is that the essence of the petition?
Yes, Interpol as well as the ICC itself because wala na silang jurisdiction po dito. And yung matter of Interpol kasi cooperation is even not mandated. It is only what you call this voluntary on the part of nations and states, no? And that is why we are politely arguing that since the ICC no longer has jurisdiction over the affairs in the Republic of the Philippines, then the Philippine government authorities should no longer cooperate.
Opo.
Yun lang po ang amin.
But-
of course, may ibang opinion
Opo.
dyan si Ma'am Leila
Yeah.
de Lima, no?
And it's important, that we get your petition
Yes.
po and understand it as well. Attorney, ma'am, paano po
Yes.
sakali po na very last minute po kasi ito dahil there's talk na posibleng ilipad na po si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa The Hague ngayong gabi. If you do not get a TRO, obviously this becomes moot and academic, ganun ho ba?
There are some legal quarters who argue that, and there may be some validity in that regard. But we are hoping and praying that the Supreme Court would really act on our petition. And it did already, and as a matter of fact, it was already raffled a while ago. And we are hoping and praying that it will not only be raffled, it will be acted upon and a TRO shall be issued anytime tonight or perhaps tomorrow.
Attorney,
Pwede sana.
follow-up,
Yes,
sir.
po.
How did you know it's been raffled?
There was a court, this announcement released a while ago.
I see. So this is...
Yes.
Opo, factual po
It was-
ito, meron na pong
Factual,
nirelease.
factual.
I haven't read that,
Yes,
sir.
po.
Opo.
Yes,
And
sir, yes, sir.
kapag
Yes,
niraffle
ma'am,
po
yes,
yan, ang sabi niyo po ay sana magkaroon na ng desisyon sa lalong madaling
Oo,
panahon.
Yes po, yes po. Sana ma-actionan man lang yung TRO, and then as a matter of fact, that's why I cannot stay long because
Opo.
I have to finish a manifestation with motion, no, that I have to file reiterative motion for
Sige
issuance
po.
of TRO. In
Okay.
5 to 10 minutes, I will file it na po. I just na-timingan lang talaga pag-answer ko na
Opo, salamat,
tumawag
attorney.
kayo. Oo, kaya
Maraming
kakahiya
salamat
naman
po.
kung
We
hindi
also
ko
wanted
i-answer.
to get your-
Kumusta mo ako kay Ma'am Leila de Lima kasi
Dito po siya sa tabi ko.
Good evening, Attorney
kumusta mo ako
Torion.
sa kanya? Yes.
Attorney, maraming
po si
salamat po
Ma'am
sa inyong
Leila.
oras.
Yes po. Okay, salamat
Thank
po.
you.
Salamat po.
All right, we'll be taking a very short break with, we'll still be back with former Senator Leila de Lima. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. You're watching On Point, still with us, former Senator Leila de Lima. I wasn't able to give you time to respond to Attorney Torion. You were saying, ma'am, during our commercial break.
Okay, narinig ko kay Attorney Torion. Okay, that they have acted to stop the Philippine government from cooperating, from surrendering Mr. Duterte to The Hague. Yun ang parang pagkakaintindi natin, no? So he recognizes na at sinabi rin niya na voluntary lang daw kasi because we're no longer a member state. So, nasabi na niya. I mean, okay, pag member state ka pa, walang duda, you have to.
Kailangan ka mag-cooperate.
Kailangan ka mag-cooperate, lalo na sa pag-enforce ng warrant of arrest. Pag non-member state, although may jurisdiction pa talaga ang ICC, wala ring problema doon, non-member state has the option to cooperate or not. And it so happens that what we're seeing now, that this government opts now or opted to cooperate. by surrendering Mr. Duterte, kung talagang totoo yan na dadalhin na, may eroplano na, o pasakay na ba sa eroplano? So let's check. So,
Okay.
that's it.
There's still, yeah, I think a lot of the argument really is about our being a non-member to the ICC. That's why I wanted to get, again, dive deep.
There's literature which says that, na pag non-member state voluntary, it's a request from the ICC. ICC encourages non-member states
To cooperate.
with the ICC.
Okay. Let me just read the statement of Vice President Sara Duterte. She had arrived sometime, maybe about 4 p.m. earlier, also from Hong Kong. Mga kababayan, today our own government has surrendered a Filipino citizen, even a former president at that, to foreign powers. This is a blatant affront to our sovereignty and an insult to every Filipino who believes in our nation's independence. Worse, former President Rodrigo Duterte is being denied his fundamental rights. Since he was taken this morning, he has not been brought before any competent judicial authority to assert his right and to allow him to avail of reliefs provided by law. As I write this, he is being forcibly taken to The Hague tonight. This is not justice. This is oppression and persecution. This act shows the world that this government is willing to abandon its own citizen and betray the very essence of our sovereignty and national dignity. God save the Philippines. A quick reaction.
There's no
from you,
surrender
Senator.
of sovereignty here because we're a member of the international community and we're a member of Interpol. So, when we enter into these international agreements, treaties, that is in fact a surrender of our sovereignty, a partial surrender of our sovereignty. But it's not the argument that we are actually surrendering our sovereignty because we are turning over Mr. Duterte to The Hague, when that is what is ordered in the warrant of arrest, issued within its powers, within its mandate, the ICC. So anong sovereignty? Now we are part of an international community. We are a member of the Interpol. There is always the implicit agreement to cooperate in situations like this. When we signified our membership in the Rome Statute as a member of the Rome Statute, we acknowledge the jurisdiction of that foreign court, the ICC.
Pumayag tayo.
Na pumayag tayo. So kahit yung
Kinilala natin.
Kinilala natin. So hindi pwede na dahil ngayon meron ng ganyang development, you will be questioning the very jurisdiction of that court.
Here's the thing, Senator Leila. As Attorney Torion said, they filed that petition before the Supreme Court. It's been raffled, according to him. Is it odd that this happened so fast as well? I mean, from the arrest warrant, everyone also saying matagal hinihintay pero ang bilis ng pangyayari. Dito po sa Korte Suprema, they filed a little after 4, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4:15. And then according to Attorney Torion, it's been raffled and they're hoping for a TRO tonight. Mabilis din ho ba ito?
Para sa akin, nasa ano naman yan ng Supreme Court. That's within their authority also if they want to act right away on any petition, especially if the petition would allege extreme urgency. And it's usually crafted as a petition for certiorari with extremely urgent prayer for TRO. And they would, of course, browse over the allegations of the petition. And then if they're convinced that it's really extremely urgent, then pwede talaga yan na rinaraffle kaagad, special cases. But
At
as
dahil
to
Tuesday ngayon,
yes.
N-Bank ngayon hindi ba uba? Every Tuesday is N-Bank of
Yes,
the
N-Bank.
Supreme Court.
Although by now, wala na yon. Wala na yung N-Bank session unless they would authorize the Chief Justice to issue the TRO. Pwede rin yun. So we really do not know how fast they could act on the prayer for
Is this,
TRO.
Parang sabi nga nila, being caught in between a rock and a hard place dahil pagka mag-issue, so hypothetically, the Supreme Court issues a TRO, it's almost as if I don't know, please correct me if I'm wrong, it goes again against what was initially what you would call jurisprudence, yung pong sinabi yung Pangilinan versus, tama ho ba, Cayetano?
Yes.
Na kinikilala ang
Nandyan
ICC.
pa rin ang jurisdiction ng
Opo.
ICC.
Pero pag meron po silang i-issue na TRO, maaari ho bang salungat yon doon sa una nilang decision?
And that's just why I'm saying that I think the Supreme Court would really carefully first study the matter before acting on it. I mean, magdadalawang isip din sila bago basta-basta na lang mag-issue ng warrant of arrest. Because they had that earlier pronouncement already under that jurisprudence. And therefore, what? Unless the petition would cite exceptional circumstances or really
Arguments, yeah.
arguments na talagang very convincing, very cogent and very convincing arguments. So they would really carefully think about this.
And the thing is, time is of the essence here, ma'am. Because if reports are true, the president, the former president, could be flown anytime now. So the Supreme Court having to act is a matter of urgency, is basically what I'm saying. So kahit na tama, yung sinasabi niyo pong kailangan nila pag-isipan ito ng mabuti, pero kailangan pag-isipan ng mabuti, pero meron pong time element na kailangan din i-considera.
It's just really up to the court, up to the Supreme Court. It can happen na ganun kabilis or hindi muna. Because they really have to deliberate on this
Pero
matter
paano
first.
pag hindi muna at napaalis na po si Pangulo?
Then that becomes moot and academic.
Yun po yun. It
Moot and
becomes
academic na yan. And I think, alam talaga yan ng gobyerno na they better just act quickly and then para to preempt any such action from the Supreme Court.
What is stated in the ICC once an arrest warrant is issued? Did it say that the person that is arrested must be flown immediately to The Hague? Is there anything that is written there, ma'am?
Meron isang provision there about, okay, so pag na-serve na yung warrant of arrest, then it should be referred to a competent judicial authority to determine certain factual issues. One is if the person arrested was the very same person that was the subject
Of the arrest
warrant of arrest.
Sisiguraduhin mo siya yung taong nandun.
Sisiguraduhin.
Okay.
And then yung that the right procedure was followed and that the rights of the person arrested was respected. So those are the matters that may be determined or to be determined by a competent judicial
And
authority.
who is that? Who is the competent judicial
And that
authority?
we do not know. We do not know. That is, I also do not know that. I've been thinking about it. Ano kaya yung competent judicial authority? So it could be a lower court, it could be RTC, it could be Supreme Court.
Kasi judicial eh.
Yeah, ito kasing sitwasyon na to talagang for the first time we are facing. This is sui generis.
Ano po?
One of a kind.
Yeah.
One of a kind. So hindi rin klaro kung ano talaga yon.
But I think if it does say that there's a judicial authority to make sure that that person, the subject of the arrest warrant, is the person that they will arrest, and that the right procedure was followed and the rights were respected, then that has to be followed. The question is really who is the judicial authority?
Yes, but that can be supplanted by the actual surrender already of the subject to The Hague. Kasi yun lang naman ang mga i-determine eh. Madali naman mga sagutin na yan before the ICC.
That's a concern though, because when you say were the right procedures followed, and sige, tanggalin yung
For the arrest.
For the arrest, opo.
Yes.
For the arrest. And yung una po, siya ba talaga yung taong inaresto? And then was the right procedure followed for the arrest? And were the rights respected? There are questions on that, at least on the side of the Duterte camp. We're going to talk about that. But we'll take a very short break. Our discussion will continue with former Senator Leila de Lima. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. You're still watching On Point. Still with us, former Senator Leila de Lima. I left this at that judicial authority. And some of the defense or arguments of the Duterte camp. It was an unlawful arrest. Why? Former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo was basically saying that he didn't even have counsel with him during the arrest. There were other lawyers, I think it was Attorney Trixie Angles, I'm not sure, but also said that they were not furnished an official copy of the arrest warrant. Those things, could those fall under technicality, under the right procedure should have been followed upon the arrest and the rights of the person must be respected?
Okay, well, he was arrested, and our very own rules also do not require that the arresting officer or the arresting team has a copy of the warrant of arrest at the time of the arrest. But if the person being arrested asks for it, then it must be produced within a reasonable time, within a practicable time, whenever practicable. And we can assume that that was done already by the DOJ or by the arresting
that if
team.
anybody arrests you at wala pong papel, that's okay?
Yeah, that's the difference between warrant of arrest and search warrant. Yung search warrant talagang
Kailangan
malinaw,
makita.
ipakita. Kasi dapat makita ano ba talaga yung mga dokumento,
Ano yung isa-search?
ano yung mga isi-search. Pero ang warrant of arrest, no, that's
So
that's not a mandatory requirement that at the time you arrest a person, nandyan na kaagad, ipapakita mo
Is that
yung
so?
warrant of arrest.
So
yes.
if anybody was arrested,
But
you can't say, pakita mo sa akin, nasaan ang papel?
Yes, at the very time of the arrest, that's not needed. But it can be, it should be produced late. It should be produced within a practicable time. Pag inano na, request na o dinemand na nung person arrested.
Okay.
So the very fact that there is no warrant of arrest at the time of the arrest is not a ground to invalidate the arrest.
Okay.
That's the difference between the warrant of arrest and the
Yung
search warrant.
abogado po, wala siyang kasamang abogado.
Kasi pag nag-aaresto ka, di ba, you have to, state or remind him about his rights, like right to remain
Miranda
silent,
rights.
and right to counsel, right to be, right against self-incrimination. Now, those are supposedly the rights when a person is being arrested.
Dapat binabasa yung Miranda rights, basically, no? Okay.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
That is an intern.
But is it mandatory? Is it incumbent that you are with a lawyer when you are arrested?
No,
No. Okay.
no, it's not.
One more, Senator. What about the fact that the former president was due for a checkup or admission in a hospital tomorrow? And he's going to be if he's flown away tonight, does that not give him, the right to seek medical attention?
We have to consider the circumstances. Okay, he was healthy enough to go to Hong Kong. He was healthy enough to talk before the OFWs. There was an event there. He delivered a speech. He was healthy enough when he returned to the country. And now that he was arrested, yes, he can ask for medical help, but not to the extent of deferring the implementation or deferring his surrender to The Hague. But of course, syempre, kung talagang malalang-malala na halos nag-collapse na
Sa
siya
life,
or something,
yeah.
life-threatening, that he has to be brought to hospital,
Yeah.
then pwede yun. Kailangan talaga pagbigyan siya.
Should there be also considerations because he is 80, yung ganyan po? I recall a report earlier na sinasabi ni Senator Bongo, he's old, he's 80.
Even under our own laws, age is never a ground to really stop these proceedings, including arrest. Age is not a ground for a person not to be jailed if there's a proper order of arrest and a proper order of detention by a court of competent jurisdiction. And ang talagang court of competent jurisdiction here is ICC. Walang korte dito sa Pilipinas na may jurisdiction doon sa kaso niya.
I think that's also what former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile had said. On a last note, there was also speculations when the former president went to Hong Kong that he could possibly go to China and seek asylum or anything of that sort. Did you think that was possible or that was the plan all along?
Baka ganun. I mean, I suspect.
You suspected
yun
that?
talaga. Because nagtaka ako na kung ang talagang pakay lang nila is to attend that event with the OFWs, bakit ganun yung entourage niya? Kasama pa niya yung the former Director General of NICA and another police officer, a former intel officer of PNP. And there were reportedly lawyers with him. Ano bang relevance ng mga intel officers or former intel officials of our government in an event of OFWs? So, and kasi ang narinig ko is may nagtip sa kanila from within the administration
Na?
na
Magkaka-arrest
may lalabas na arrest warrant from the ICC. And
Kay-
look at the timing. It could not be a coincidence na yung pagpunta ni Mr. Duterte sa Hong Kong, palabas naman yung warrant. See? Although it was not announced yet by the ICC. But the date of the warrant of arrest was March 7. That's Friday.
Right. All right. So, again, we will continue to monitor the developments here at the Billionario News Channel. Again, from what we know at the moment, the former president still at the Villamor Airbase. We're going to try to get more information as much as we can and as soon as we can. To former Senator Leila de Lima, thank you so much for coming here. I know it's your rest day and you decided to come over. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Always appreciated. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you also. Thank you.
And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.